There are thousands of accountants and tax service providers here in the UK alone. So how do you go about choosing the right accountant who's a right fit for you and your business? It is likely you'll be asking around for recommendations from friends or family members for a good accountant. And whilst this is a viable approach, it's not always the most effective. It's a bit like asking your friends what you should eat, and whilst in some cases there will be alignment in tastes and preferences, on many occasions, unfortunately, there will not be. Your business or financial circumstances are not always the same as those close to you or your inner circle. So restricting your universe can sometimes actually work against you. In this video, I'm going to explain a 6-step approach as to how you can go about choosing the right accountant at the right fit and the right budget for you and your business. Now, you can be absolutely forgiven for thinking that all accountants are made the same, they all perform the same, do the same things and produce the same results. Well, that's a bit like saying all cars are the same. Yes, functionally a car does the same thing, but not all cars are made the same and return the same experience and results, and hopefully you can draw upon that analogy. So what I'm going to explain here is this 6-step approach is how you can differentiate one accountant from another by doing some simple checks and getting the right fit for you and your business. Tip number 1 is trust, integrity, and transparency. Now, I realize that there are 3 words in one tip, but the fact of the matter is, in 20 plus years of being in an accountancy business, that is the number 1 combined attribute that all prospects, clients, and probably yourself are looking for. You see, without trust, integrity, and transparency, you never really develop an effective relationship. And that's what most people, including yourself, no doubt, are often looking for. So, for example, if I'm looking for a mechanic, I'm going to want the same thing. I'm going to want to know that I can trust the mechanic with my car, that I can trust that the job's going to get done at a reasonable fee, and I can walk away pain and hassle free. And no doubt you're going to want the same for your accountant. Now, luckily in today's technological world with Google, YouTube, and social media, you can start to establish that quite quickly and quite easily. And the next step is the first bit of research you should be doing. Tip number 2, how much and what quality content is out in the public domain by an accountant? So I think this is really, really important because, to be honest, in today's economy, there's no excuse for accountants not to be putting out good quality content on air. By simply viewing and browsing some of the content, you will start to get a feel. Are you connecting? Are you actually feeling empowered by what you're watching? Is this hitting a chord with you? And do you feel that this is the right type of knowledge, message, and actually the feel that you're getting from this particular accountant? So aside from the standard compliance and tick box services, you will want an accountant to be your trusted advisor too. And that's certainly a great starting point to develop that trust, integrity, and transparency. Tip number 3 is reviews. Now, testimonials are testimonials, and they are a good insight into the accountant's service levels and ability. They certainly hold far more weight than what the accountants will say about themselves. Now, traditionally, testimonials used to be a written thing with a picture of somebody on a website. So we've come a lot further down the road to that and way beyond that. Now, it's all about Google reviews or any other kind of reputable reviews from a reputable platform. That's what you need to be looking out for, not just the quantity of reviews, but more importantly the quality of reviews, and do go and take some time to read some of them. Not all of them, you just got to read a good sample. What are the people saying about this accountant and why? Is there a common theme? Is there a common thread? And if there is, that should give you more confidence that this accountant could be the right fit for you, or alternatively, that could not be the case. Tip number 4, does this accountant operate and serve your particular industry and niches? You see, whilst there's nothing wrong with it, there's a lot of accountants that are generalists out there. They cover all industries, professions, types, ranges. And the downside with that is that you'll end up getting accountants that are a jack of all industries. Now, it's a bit like going to a general practitioner or your GP doctor. Your GP is a qualified doctor and they know a bit about everything. They know a bit about your heart, your nervous system, your general illnesses, and so on. But the fact is, if you were to ask your GP to do heart surgery, I don't think you'd want them to do that. More than likely, you'd want a specialist cardiologist who has that depth of knowledge, experience, and years of knowing how to do effective and successful heart surgery. And it's not too different from finding an accountant. Now, if you're just looking for a simple compliance tick box service, then there's nothing wrong with going with a general practitioner. If you're looking for an industry specialist, then you're better off going for a niche accountant, because the chances are they'll have the knowledge, the expertise, and the connections, as well as more in-depth information to actually help you add value to your business and help it grow to success. Tip number 5 is geography and proximity. Now, this probably isn't as important in today's technological advanced post-pandemic world that we now live in. But having said that, there is still some value to be gained with being able to actually have that face-to-face contact with your accountant. And also, a lot of it really does depend on your industry, your profession, and the nature of your business. So, for example, if you're a mechanic, you're going to want to be actually quite close to your accountant, so you have the ability to go and visit your accountant, and your accountant and their bookkeepers have the ability to visit you, because the chances are there's going to be some paperwork and some manual work involved. But if you're in an industry profession or your business nature is more online based, then this may not matter as much. What you need to be looking for is an accountant that dovetails with your systems and uses systems that are in the cloud and conducive to be able to do the work remotely for you, but yet effectively. However, in saying that, there is still an advantage and there is still a benefit to be gained in having a visual contact with your accountant by way of video calls, which is obviously gaining popularity now, as accounting language is actually quite a complex language to the non-accountant, and simply reading or hearing your accountant's words as opposed to watching them can make a difference. It's a bit like lawyers. Sometimes it sounds like gobbledygook. And if you're on the telephone sometimes and you're having a conversation with an accountant, 50% of it goes over your head, then actually you've just wasted your time. So what you need to be able to do is communicate effectively 2 ways with your accountant, so they're understanding you and you're understanding them. And that is the only way you can take that message, put it into action, and actually make sure you get the maximum value from your accounting service. Tip number 6 is systems and processes. Now, again, this really does depend on the nature of your business, what you do, and your background. Now, what you don't want to be doing unnecessarily is pushing around too much paper. Paper invoices, paper this, paper receipts, and so on. I mean, we are now in an advanced technological world, and that is evolving even further. What you need to be looking for is an accountant that's digitally savvy, that is digitally prepared. I mean, even HMRC are making tax digital now. So within a year or 2, you're not going to be able to do any kind of paper returns with HMRC. It's all going to be digital. And therefore, you really do need your accountant to be on board with this. Now, having an accountant whose systems are in the cloud with accounting software, whether it's owned, whether it's a third-party provider, is what you need to be looking for. But not just their one piece of software, the whole finance ecosystem. You need to make sure it's all in the cloud, because the key here is that you've got to be able to have an accountant that can do the operational transactional stuff remotely without them having to come to you or you to them. And that is what makes the process more efficient and actually will keep your fees at a reasonable level. What you should be looking for from your accountant is business growth advisory, how to grow your revenue, profits, tax planning, and how to optimize, if not minimize, your taxes legally, and all other bits of advisory that are really going to add value that will help your business achieve its goals. Now, I really hope you found this video useful. This is all about you. This is about choosing the right accounting and tax partner, because effectively you just want to be choosing once and then to build that long-term relationship. This is all about finding the right solution at the right fit for you at a reasonable fee. As always, thank you for tuning in.